If you've ever showed up for a potluck with the same boring dish that everyone else brought, today we're fixing that for good.
We've got 10 dishes that travel well, feed a crowd, and are always the first to disappear off the table.
This crunch wrap casserole is one of my favorites. It's still a crunch wrap, just made for a crowd, and it's perfect for a potluck. Heat a large skillet over medium-high heat and add about a pound of ground beef. Cook it for just a couple of minutes, crumbling it up as you go. Then add 1 chopped onion and cook it again, stirring it often until the beef is browned and the onions are soft. It'll take about 5 to 8 minutes. Stir in 1 packet of taco seasoning, then add a 1/3 cup of water and cook it for 2 more minutes, scraping up the brown bits from the bottom. Remove it from the heat and set it aside for now. Brush a 9x13 pan with a little bit of melted butter. Line the bottom and sides with 5 flour tortillas, overlapping them a little bit and let the extra just hang over the edge. This is the part that makes it look fancy, but it's the tortillas doing all the work. Makes it look like you tried harder than you did. Sprinkle 2 cups of shredded cheddar all over the tortillas. Then top it with 1/2 cup of chopped cilantro and 3 diced drained tomatoes. Spoon 8 ounces of sour cream into a plastic bag, snip off the corner. This is going to make it way easier to squeeze it evenly over the tomatoes. Now grab your tostada shells. Layer 5 to 6 of them right on top of the sour cream, overlapping them to fit. Then spread on a 15-ounce can of nacho cheese sauce. Pour the beef mixture over the cheese sauce in an even layer. Place the last tortilla over the top, then fold all those overhanging tortillas up and over and seal it in. You can brush the top with the last bits of melted butter and press down any loose ends. Woo, that's heavy. We're gonna bake this for about 25 to 30 minutes at 375 degrees Fahrenheit until it's golden and crunchy. You can cut it up in the casserole dish, but I like to serve it just like this on a big giant platter. And when you're taking it to a potluck, you can just take it in the casserole dish, turn it upside down on this platter, throw some cheese and some lettuce and things on the top, and you're good to go. Look at that. It's cheesy, it's crunchy, it's so easy to make for a potluck. This is gonna be the best thing on the table. Guaranteed. Yum.
These chili cheese potato skins are the potluck dish that I make when I want to make something that everyone is going to fight over. This recipe makes 16, so you can scale it up or down depending on what you need. Preheat the oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit with the rack in the upper third part of your oven. Prick each potato several times with a fork to let some of the steam come out as it cooks. Coat each with olive oil or avocado oil and season with salt and pepper. Place them directly on the oven rack. No baking sheet needed. Bake them for 40 minutes or until they're tender. Transfer the potatoes to a cutting board. Cut them in half lengthwise and let them cool for 10 minutes until they're easy to handle. Now scoop out the flesh. You want to leave about a 1/4 inch border attached to the skin. And that scooped out potato, keep it for another use. Don't toss it. Arrange the potato skins cut side down on a baking sheet. Brush with the remaining oil and bake for 10 to 12 minutes, flipping halfway through until they're crispy and browned. Once the skins are crispy, turn your broiler to high. Then we're gonna fill each boat with your favorite chili, slightly warmed up, and a cup of sharp shredded cheddar. Broil for 2 to 3 minutes or until the cheese is melted. Serve them with jalapeno slices, sour cream, green onions, maybe a little more cheese, and let everybody make their own. Look at that, crispy skin, melty cheese, and chili in every bite. These are always gone before I can even take the second batch out of the oven.
Today we're making this viral salmon sushi bake, and it will become your latest obsession. Let's start with 1 cup of sushi rice. I'm just gonna run this under cold water a couple of times. You can kind of see the water is a little bit murky. All right, you're gonna cook your rice according to the package instructions. Mine takes about 15 minutes at a simmer and then 10 minutes off the heat with the lid still on. So once this is cooled down just a little bit, we can season it. Add 2 tablespoons of seasoned sushi vinegar and fold it in. Don't stir it, just sort of cut it in. That's their trick to keep it from getting mushy. We can also get the salmon into the oven. I've got it preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm using 2 salmon fillets, probably about 5 ounces each. I'm just gonna season those with a little bit of salt and pepper and into the oven for about 6 minutes. It won't be fully cooked by then, but that's perfect because it finishes baking later. All right, now I need to make this fantastic sauce called Yum Yum sauce. All you need is 1/3 cup of mayonnaise, 3 teaspoons of sriracha, and 1/2 tablespoon of soy sauce. Angie converted me to using jars for shaking sauce. It simplifies things. I like putting the sauce into a squeezy bottle so I can feel like I'm a fancy chef. Grab a bowl. We're gonna mix up 4 ounces of the softened cream cheese, plus the second half of the Yum Yum sauce that we made. Okay, and about 1/2 of the green onions. I chopped up about 3 green onions here, and I'm gonna save the other 1/2 for the garnish. Just mix that all up. Get that salmon into the bowl and gently flake it. Fold it in gently just until it's mixed. Okay, and set that aside. Now we're going to pack the sushi rice into the baking dish. Just go ahead and put it all in there. So you can just push it down with the back of the spatula to get it nice and even in the pan. And then season it with furikake. This is where the magic happens. Seriously, you have to get some of this. Spread the salmon mixture right over the top. And add more furikake, of course. Now this goes in the oven for 15 minutes. Okay, the sushi bake just came out of the oven. Look at that. I'm topping it with avocado, the rest of the green onions, and some black sesame seeds. And now the fun part where I get to use my squeeze bottle to drizzle on the sauce. This is best served with toasted nori squares if you ask me. So I toast a couple of pieces quickly over the flame and then cut them up into pieces. You can scoop it, wrap it, or just shovel it into your mouth like any reasonable human would.
Let me introduce you to chicken hash brown casserole. This casserole is the ultimate go-to for busy weeknights. It'll be ready in under an hour and it screams comfort food. I've made it so many times that I've lost count. I even freeze it and send it home with my grown-up son so he can have just a little taste of home once in a while. We're starting with bacon, because obviously everything is better with bacon, right? I like to cook my bacon in the air fryer. It's way less messy than cooking it on the stovetop. As with most of our recipes, this casserole is gonna feed about 4 people, so it's in a smaller dish. If you wanna use a 9x13, just double the recipe. I'm using my really big bowl for this. Laura calls it Santa because it's so red.
And so big.
I need a lot of space. I don't wanna be mixing this up in a tiny bowl, or I'm going to have hash browns everywhere. Add 4 ounces of softened cream cheese, 1/2 cup of sour cream, and 1/4 cup of melted butter. Whisk it together until it's smooth and silky. Now add in 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/2 the cooked bacon, and 1/2 the shredded cheddar. That's about 1/2 cup. Once that's mixed, fold in your thawed hash browns, about 15 ounces, and 2 cups of cooked cubed chicken breast. Now pour it into your greased baking dish and smooth it out. Pop it into the oven for 35 minutes. You'll know it's ready when it starts to get bubbly around the edges. This looks perfect. Now we're gonna make it even better. Sprinkle on the rest of your bacon and cheddar. Then put it back into the oven for about 15 more minutes until the top is golden and melted. Finish with some sliced green onions on top. These give it a little zip and make it look a little fancier. Seriously, this is one of those casseroles you're gonna wanna double just for the leftovers.
These lasagna rolls are perfect for sharing at a potluck. They're already in individual servings. This is a simple way to enjoy a homemade lasagna. Okay, let's get started. I'm gonna do 2 things at once here to save a little bit of time. I've got a pot boiling with some salted water for the lasagna, so let's go ahead and drop those in. And that's gonna take about 8 minutes. So while that's cooking, let's go ahead and get started on the meat sauce. First, let's brown the ground beef over medium heat. So you just wanna crumble up the meat a little bit to make sure it's in smaller pieces. That'll make the lasagna rolls easier to roll up. Stir in the tomato sauce, tomato paste, Italian seasoning, and salt. I'm just gonna let that simmer over low heat for about 10 minutes. Drain the lasagna noodles. Grab one of the pasta sheets. Now spread a large spoonful of the ricotta all up and down. You can make it as thick or thin as you like. Then add a large spoonful of meat sauce. Also spread that around. Get it nice and even. Then a big handful of mozzarella. And carefully roll it up. You want it tight, but not too tight. You don't want to squeeze out all of the filling. And place it upright in an 8x8 baking dish. So this amount of ingredients can make 6 to 7 rolls. I like to stretch it into 7 rolls because that fits really nicely in my pan and it holds all the rolls together as they cook. So that's my preference. Once all the rolls are done, see how nicely that's packed in there. I'm gonna pour the marinara sauce over the top. And then I'm gonna spread on the remaining mozzarella cheese. Now we're gonna bake this at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes until the cheese is nice and bubbly on top. Once they're baked, they're really easy to divide into individual servings and they're very easy to reheat as well. Let me introduce you to green chili enchilada casserole. This casserole is my go-to for absolute deliciousness. We're gonna start by cooking 2 large boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and you can do this however you prefer. You can buy rotisserie chicken or you poach it in some water on the stovetop, anything goes. Once it's cooked, shred it up. In a bowl, mix the cumin, chili powder, garlic powder, and salt. Add the chicken to that and stir it all up. In another bowl, mix the sour cream and milk until it's nice and smooth. Then you can add a 4-ounce can of green chilies and about half of a 28-ounce can of the green enchilada sauce. Yum. Stir that all together. Pour the mixture into the bowl with the chicken and make sure that it's all combined. Next, you're going to need corn tortillas, yellow or white, and we're going to cut these in half. Cutting them in half just makes them a little bit easier to layer. I'm not trying to make more work here for you, I promise, but giving these tortillas a light fry is where the magic happens. It will give them more texture and flavor, and that will really make this special. Next, I'll just shred the Monterey Jack cheese so that we're all ready to go. To assemble the casserole, first spread a small amount of enchilada sauce on the bottom of the dish to keep things from sticking. Then lay down your tortilla halves, add half the shredded chicken, and a third of the shredded cheese. Then do it all again. And then the final layer of cheese. This is starting to look really good. Okay, then you'll put one last layer of tortillas on the top. Add the rest of the enchilada sauce and cheese on top. Then we're gonna go ahead and cover it with tin foil and bake it for about 30 minutes. Uncover it and bake it for 10 more minutes to let the top get melty and golden. I can smell the green chili. This is gonna be so tasty. The green chili sauce, the extra texture we added to the tortillas, and of course, all that melty cheese. It's just ridiculously satisfying. Now this one you might not have ever seen before. It's an old-fashioned cornbread salad. It's packed with flavor. We've got tomatoes, corn, beans, red peppers, and of course that cornbread. In a small bowl, mix together half a cup of mayonnaise, half a cup of sour cream, a tablespoon of dry ranch seasoning, and a tablespoon of water, and stir it together until it's smooth and creamy. Set this dressing aside for later. This is what brings it all together. And let's start making that salad. In a large bowl, combine 2 chopped Roma tomatoes, a small diced red pepper, a cup of sweet corn, a cup of pinto beans, and 4 diced green onions. Give it a good mix so that everything is evenly distributed. Scoop out about a cup of the veggies. We're gonna put this on the salad at the end, and it's gonna make everything look fresh and colorful. Now grab your cornbread. This is just a simple boxed mix. I've already baked it and it's cooled. Crumble it up into bite-sized pieces. Not too small, you still want some texture. Let's start layering. In a glass serving dish, add half of the crumbled cornbread on the bottom. This is going to soak up all that flavor. Next, add half of the vegetable mix right on top. Spread it out evenly so you get a little bit of everything in each bite. Sprinkle on half of the crumbled bacon, that's about 2 strips, and half of the shredded cheddar cheese, it's about a half a cup. This is where that smoky, savory flavor really starts to build. Now we're going to spread on about half of the dressing. Don't worry about making this look perfect, just gently smooth it out over the top. And now we're going to repeat all of that one more time. Finish with the rest of the dressing spread over the top. Take that reserved vegetable mixture and sprinkle it on the top for a fresh, colorful finish. And a little extra cheese if you want, it never hurts. Oh, look at that masterpiece, and here is the hard part. We're gonna have to cover it and let it sit in the refrigerator overnight. This resting time is really necessary because it allows the flavors to kind of soak down and get in there without becoming soggy, and all those flavors are gonna meld together and make something wonderful. When you're ready to serve, just scoop straight down to get all those layers in one bite. It's unexpected, but amazing. Our appetizer today is going to be perfect for your party. It's a barbecue riblet. The first thing we need to do is cut the ribs into chunks. Don't make them too small, they'll cook down. Grab a bowl and add the barbecue sauce, brown sugar, Worcestershire sauce, and seasoning. I'm just going to take a little bit out to baste the ribs with later on. Put the ribs in there and toss them in the sauce. Be sure to preheat the grill to 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes before you want to cook these. Then you can put them right on the grill. Flip them over and give them a baste with that extra sauce. I think these are great for a potluck or a picnic because they're individual little bites and everyone will be stoked when these show up.
You have to try this pepperoni pizza dip. It's everything you love about pizza. Marinara, pepperoni, and mozzarella cheese. All melty and gooey with the dippers built right in. I'm using Rhodes frozen dinner rolls today. This is what I can get at my grocery store, but they're available through a bunch of different brands. You can find them in the freezer section. You do have to take them out of the freezer a day in advance so that they can thaw and rise. Arrange your risen dough balls. I'm using about 17 rolls around the edge of my 12-inch cast iron skillet. This will bake up into golden, fluffy dippers right in the pan. In a bowl, mix up 8 ounces of softened cream cheese with 2 cloves of chopped garlic, a half teaspoon of dried oregano, and 1 tablespoon of fresh or dried parsley. Spoon the cream cheese mixture into the pan first. Then pour in 12 ounces of marinara. Store-bought is fine. Add about 4 ounces of pepperoni, saving an ounce or 2 for the top, and a solid layer of shredded mozzarella. Finish with the rest of the pepperoni. Mix together 2 tablespoons of melted butter with 1 clove of garlic minced and brush it onto the dough balls. This will add tons of flavor. Bake it at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 minutes. Once the rolls are golden and the center is bubbly, take that out of the oven. Garnish with a little fresh parsley and serve it straight from the pan. It makes about 8 servings. I have this incredible chocolate cake that I love to take to potlucks, and no one can believe that it was made in a crock pot. You're going to want to try this decadent chocolate cake with whipped cream, caramel syrup, and crunchy toffee bits. Start by mixing up the cake mix. 1 1/4 cup water, half a can of sweetened condensed milk, 3/4 cup vegetable oil, 2 large eggs, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Spray the inside of the slow cooker with non-stick cooking spray. Then pour the batter into the crock pot and sprinkle on the chocolate chips. How you tell it's done is to insert a toothpick into the middle, and if it comes out clean, it's done. Now we're going to poke holes all over the cake with the back of a spoon. Okay, grab a bowl and we're going to mix together the rest of the sweetened condensed milk from earlier and about 3/4 of the caramel syrup. You want to save just a little bit to drizzle over the top later. And pour it all over the cake. It'll start to seep into those holes. Cover it and refrigerate until you're ready to serve. Then you can cut it into squares and serve it with whipped cream, caramel syrup, and some toffee bits. This cake gets me every time. It's so good. Did you even know you could make cake in a crock pot? Now you've got 10 great potluck dishes that travel well, feed a crowd, and absolutely will not be left on the table at the end of the night.
And if you're already thinking about what to bring next time, go watch our party dips video because every great spread needs a couple of those too.